Hello coaches, this is Coach Connor coming to you with yet another hopefully helpful video. This time not around movement specifically, but when it comes time to explain what could be read as fairly long-winded and somewhat confusing Metcons to your class, be it in the context of alpha strength or conditioning or even something like GTX. What I want to do here is help provide a strategy for you such that you can take a workout, again, that may appear overwhelming on paper or on screen or on board and convey it to your classes in a way that is easily understood. So I'm going to use actually today's week 1, day 1 resistance phase, today's Metcon from Alpha Strength as a really poignant example. So the whole thing, 22 minutes on the clock. We've got a 10-minute AMRAP of cardio, ab mat sit-ups, and a hang power snatch. There's a 2-minute rest, followed by another 10-minute AMRAP of more cardio, more sit-ups, but a different variation than we saw on the first piece, and then more hang power snatches, but reduced volume and additional load. Now, the point that I'm going to try to articulate here, and frankly may have just been illustrated just now, is if you go about just explaining the Metcon piece, that, I can almost guarantee you that you are going to lose 85 to 90% of your class. They're going to be trying to consider what you just said. You're already moving along to the next thing. They're going to lose track of what you're trying to ask of them. And then before you know it, you get into the Metcon. You're like, all right, does everybody feel good? We ready to go? And somebody's like, yeah, what are we doing? And then the rest of the class goes, yeah, I don't know either. And before you know it, you got to go back and double back on the work that you were doing. So the strategy then, how do we avoid all that, is what I like to think about as a top-down approach to explaining Metcons. And really what I mean by that is before we worry about the granular pieces, the actual individual movement patterns that appear in a Metcon, what I like to try to do, wherever it makes sense to do so, is give people the big picture view first. So for example, a workout like this, how I might go about introducing this is, hey crew, so I know this looks like a lot. Here's what I need you to understand. The entirety of this Metcon can be boiled down into a 10-minute AMRAP, 2 minutes of rest, and another 10-minute AMRAP. Boom. That's where I'd start. Already people are starting to think about, okay, I can understand the pieces that I'm going to be getting myself into. Then we start to add in a little bit more detail, going slowly closer to ground level specifics. What you need to know about both of these AMRAPs is that you've got cardio, a variation of a sit-up, and then a hang power snatch. They won't look exactly the same from the first to the second AMRAP, and we'll talk about that. But again, what you need to know is cardio, sit-up, hang power snatch. Cardio, sit-up, hang power snatch, both of which will be flowing through at an AMRAP, again with our zone 2, zone 3 pace. So now here again, we've provided incrementally more detail for them, helping them now go from, okay, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes to 10 minutes of this, rest, 10 minutes of this. Then we can add in even further. The good news is the cardio for both of these AMRAPs is the exact same. You're gonna get to choose between a 400-meter row, a 0.18 mile run, or a 30-calorie bike. You can switch up your cardio every time you're there, but no matter what, you're choosing one of those 3 options every time you come back to your cardio, both for the first AMRAP and for the second. Now already you've got some heads that are starting to nod. The ab mat sit-ups, in the first round, we're gonna start with 30 just ab mat sit-ups. The second round, reps go down from 30 to 15, but the variation becomes a little more challenging. We're actually going to do a weighted sit-up plus a strict press overhead with the weight that you've got in hand. Again, people are registering, they're starting to nod along. And then the last thing you need to know, those hang power snatches when we get there, round 1 is 20 hang power snatches. RX loading is 75-55, although there is a listed RX plus. Then, like the sit-ups, when we get into the second AMRAP, volume goes down, but intensity goes up, this time by making the barbell a little bit heavier. RX is 95, 75, or 135, 105 for our RX plus. Everybody tracking me here so far? And then hopefully you're getting more and more and more head knots. Then, having provided all the pieces, you can go through and provide the full overlay now because people know what it is they're going to expect. So, to recap, make sure we're all on the same page here. 22 total minutes. We start with this 10-minute AMRAP, cardio of your choice, 30 ab mat sit-ups, and 20 hang power snatches on repeat. Zone 2-3 intensity. We'll have 2 minutes of rest. I'll make sure you know exactly when that's happening. And then during that 2 minutes of rest, for those of you who are going to go heavier in our second AMRAP, we'll have the chance to adjust the barbell. Then we get into that 10-minute AMRAP, close it out, same cardio as before, 15 weighted sit-ups plus press, and 10 hang power snatches. Does everyone understand what it is I'm asking you to do here? And then hopefully by that point, you're getting a whole lot of, yes, I understand, coach. And then you can go in, because people understand the layout, the structure of the Metcon, you can go and give really specific and targeted feedback for each athlete individually around how heavy should their barbell be? Should they be using a loaded barbell? Should they be using a barbell at all? What are we going to do with the ab mats? How are we going to navigate the cardio equipment available to us? Is class really busy? How are we going to consider blah, 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 blah. But without providing meaningful understanding so that your athletes can actually have a concrete understanding of the Metcon itself, all of that doesn't really resonate the way that it could. So, to recap, top-down approach to explaining Metcons. Help them understand the large pieces first, where applicable to do so. Then start to layer in a little bit more information. Make sure people are continuing to digest piece by piece. And then lastly, you can go in and talk through specifics. Hopefully, this all makes sense. And I understand that right now, hearing it, it may seem like this is actually going to be a longer process than it would be to just run straight down the board. And to be honest, that might be true. You might lose a little bit of time going about explaining Metcons this way. However, what I'm going to propose to you is that the time that you lose in your explanation, you're actually going to gain back that and more because your athletes have that much greater level of comprehension of what it is that they're getting themselves into, and therefore you can more effectively and efficiently use your coaching time pre-Metcon rather than scrambling around and trying to help everyone understand what you just conveyed to the group in the first place. So, give this a try if you're not already doing this in your classes. Again, largely applicable for alpha strength, alpha conditioning, but there may be some juice to the squeeze in the context of GTX. And of course, if you have questions about any of this stuff, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I hope you find it helpful. And if you have questions, thoughts, or concerns, I'm looking forward to getting connected. Thanks, everybody.